Hi, my name's Kristen, and this is my road to recovery story. Speed, pharmaceutical, anything basically that was go fast material. It was always like the Energizer Bunny. Drug use started, with simple marijuana, drinking. 13 was the youngest. I started smoking cigarettes. I followed the crowd at a young age. I really kind of thought that I was cool, and that's honestly why it started, is because I felt like the cool girl with a cigarette in my hand, or the cool girl because, I smoked pot, Early on, my grades started slipping in school. At a very young age, I stopped caring about what was important, whether it was obviously, my studies, even little things like spending time with family at 13, I understand that teenagers are like that with their parents, but I was so standoffish. I wanted nothing to do with anybody other than my circle that would contribute to my delinquency. It took me down a long and lonely road. By the time I was 14, I had started seeing criminal charges. I had made myself quite a comfortable little home in Johnson County Juvenile Detention Center, to the point where the guards knew me very well when I'd come in. I had my own cell every time I'd come in. I spent nights in, jail just crying, why can't I get this right? Begging for mommy and daddy to come save me, but there was nothing they could do. When I was in high school, one of my biggest issues, was with males. I had a relationship complex, I guess you can call it codependent, basically. I got into some very scary situations that, in all actuality, looking back 10 years later, I shouldn't have come out of. I went to my mother's house to try and, I guess, discuss my options. There was a lady living with my mother at the time, and she had taken my 3-year-old daughter in the back room and absolutely refused to let me see her, let her see me, I would ask about her and she wouldn't even let me, know anything. And that was the most heartbreaking moment for me, was being told that I couldn't be a mother if this is how I was going to choose to live my life. And I put my daughter in very dangerous situations at some points due to my addiction, but that right there was the biggest slap in the face, somebody telling me, you can't be a mother like this, and, not letting me see my child. And my aunt and my mother and my sister were there for me, to come together and, support me in this, say, okay, you need help and we're going to help you get it. I'm very close to them, first of all 3 of them. I have my own separate little, perfect relationship with, and I was very disgusting and vulgar and hateful to them. For example, my grandfather, my mom's dad, died 7 years ago this December, and I threw his death in her face because I wanted to hurt her, because I wanted to, you're doing this to me, you're sending me to rehab, this is your fault, not mine. You're the one with the issues, not me. And I broke her heart on purpose. And the sad thing about it was, that night when it was time for me to leave, she didn't want me to go. She cried and she begged me to stay. And after I had just, walked all over her, I had ran her car out of gas, I had ran her car all over, God's creation, she still wanted me to stay, and she still wanted me to, be at home with her. And I couldn't understand that type of unconditional love. And at that point, that night, going home, of course my thoughts were, 90 to nothing, because I was still coming down. But it's in that exact night that I started to think, enough is enough. This merry-go-round has got to end. I sought, counseling through, some of the staff here at Mental Health, which was a huge help. But to be honest, a lot of my treatment came from my church. My mother used to attend the Nazarene church here in town, and it's been a year since I've lost her. And I lost her on my road to recovery, which was, I thought, going to be the one bone-crushing, deal for me. I thought, that's it, I'm gonna go back no matter what, and I didn't, and I believe that there's a higher, power there that kept me from going back, and really I just found my comfort in the walls of the church, just being close to my mom, and she's physically gone, but she's still here every single day, and I honestly believe that in a weird way, a lot of people are gonna, kind of think, wow, when I say this, but I think her death kept me sober, reminded me that, you don't have to do this, you don't have to go back, and I think one of the biggest accomplishments, that I made was my mother did get to see me a year sober before she died. And that to me was one of the proudest moments of my life. My mother saying, congratulations, you're doing it. There's a difference to me between being sober and just, not using. And being sober, in my opinion, it's an everyday thing. You have to live it, you have to learn it, you have to stick with it. It's a process that takes time. It's a process that is frustrating as all get out sometimes. It's a process that's absolutely heartbreaking sometimes. And let me tell you, Friday and Saturday nights are the loneliest night of the weeks for me. But it's worth it, because I know on Sunday morning when I wake up, I'm not gonna be in jail. I'm not gonna be in a hospital. I'm not gonna be brought up on manslaughter charges for driving high and killing somebody. I know that I'm gonna wake up in my bed sober. I'm gonna wake up and be a mom. I'm gonna wake up and be a fiance. I'm gonna wake up and be a sober family member that, my family enjoys being around. Don't give up. I know it's hard. I've been there. I've given up several times. There's been nights that I've literally cried and felt my heart just shatter inside, and it's the most excruciating pain I've ever been through. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, I promise. And us addicts that have, recovery underneath our belts, we're living proof that one day it does get better. It all starts with you, though.